Alright, hey, it's Brooks. We're gonna go through a little bit of hot outside arch carving on this Clone 1 model. I've got most of the rough shaping was done with this tool right here. It's an angle grinder with a carving blade on it. I usually refine down to a sanding disc. I haven't in this case. I've been using my finger planes. These work pretty efficiently and a little more control for me, and I can really start to hear what is happening with the tonality of this plate. Get to know the wood a little bit, well, quite a bit better, using hand tools. So what I've done is I've established the rough carve with the blade like I told you, and then I went onto the drill press using the safety planer. I'll show you real quick. This is the safety planer set up for 1/4 inch, so I run the plate around the profile of the plate around that. That gives me this uniform 1/4 inch thick plate to work the arch down to. So I'm going to slowly just work it down to this level right here around the whole thing, and then what's going to happen is I'm going to start putting in recarve from about here all the way around. That'll dictate how far in my arch actually happens. So what's happening now is we've got a flat spot on the top. A lot of guys will keep that flat so they can mount their pickup rings to it. I'm going full arch here, so this thing's going to have curvature over the entire top. That's the difference between these guys and the other guys. These are quite a bit more traditional, and as a result they're quite a bit more responsive in my opinion. See, this thing makes pretty quick work of it. So you'll notice I have the overhead lights off and my bench light on, creating a side light effect. This way you get the shadows. You can actually see the 3 dimensions of the plate. So this is how I carve, kind of in the dark with a side light assist. So we've got changing grain right here around this bout area. So I'm just gonna go up to my mark where it starts tearing out. Skewing action of the plane, holding it sideways and on a 45 degree helps cut. Following the contours helps cut. See, I'm just following my topography here. There's my tear out spot. Now the master violin makers would use these finger planes of all different sizes, and they would be able to sharpen and use these tools so efficiently that they could, instead of sanding, their final plate surfacing treatment was with one of these. So they've been able to refine their strokes so minutely that you won't see any of these ripples. They will just plane each one down so that the entire surface is smooth and you never even have to see a piece of sandpaper. Not sure that is something that's being practiced these days, but it's something to keep in mind. Power tools obviously do brunt of the work for most of us in the shops these days, but this is old world in effect right here. So I try and at least acknowledge what's going on and what has gone on before in this exact procedure over the centuries that carved instruments have been being made. So there's a lot of history in here, and we're continuing the history as every stroke we take furthers my business. And in the realm of guitar building, well, I'm somewhere. People have these guitars and they're being made with the utmost care and attention, and they're being built and constructed in old world techniques in a lot of these cases. These hand carvings, I thought I'd given them up years ago because they're very strenuous, but at the same time that's kind of what I'm in this business for. This is the kind of work that I love, so I enjoy it. Notice this is a ibex finger plane. I've upgraded or modified the back of the blade. Usually they're just pretty sharp on this particular one digs into my hand right here. You can see my thumb took a pretty good beating the other day. I didn't have this installed yet. So the majority of my gripping and stopping power was coming from right here, and that creates the blister right there that you're seeing. So with this in place, it allows me to loosen up my grip with these two fingers and use this in the palm of my hand to drive the plane. And it works. The plane itself works a lot better being powered through the plane iron, the direct motion from my palm. So big improvement for any ibex finger plane users out there. Definitely put your ball ends on, save your hands, and will increase your the ability to use the tool, effectiveness of the tool, I guess. You can see we don't have any slope. I'm exaggerating with my hand. Right now you're looking at the bottom is level and the top plane is level to that. What we're going to start doing is using our bridge point here, we're going to start ramping it down to these horns. So the overall plate is going to slowly step down, and that will kind of determine our neck pitch when we get to that point. The height of the bridge plus the degree that we're going to create from here to this point on the heel. That's what's going to establish this arch, so to speak. So you'll just see me from time to time taking full cross grains with kind of no disregard. It's because we're slowly going to ramp this thing down, and I've found just cutting the whole thing off flat, even taking a block plane at this point and shaving it down into your desired slope would be something you could do. I've just found these work just as well, and I don't have to switch between tools. So I'm going to start leaving this high and start working the sides, the waist down. I'm going to have a throat section in this area, and it's going to kind of teardrop into this area, and then we're going to have the sweep of the cutaway, the double cutaway, and you'll see how that all kind of comes together in the next few minutes here. We've got a little low spot here, but I'm not worried about it. The plate is oversized at its present state, so we'll trim that back a little bit. And then to further correct my little imperfection there, the binding will route clear beyond that, so I'm not worried about that little zinger. Mistakes happen from time to time, as long as they're not gonna affect the overall shape or size or performance. You just work them in, into the build, and turn your mistake into a solution. Leaving a plate oversized is a good solution to having minor screw ups, because you're always going to be taking a little more off than you anticipate. You can see how nice this stuff cuts across the grain. You wouldn't think it would, but the blade's so sharp and we've got so much cross figuring going on here that it goes better with the cross grain than it does with the grain. You can see these strokes are curving along the contours. I'm moving quite a bit of material with each stroke. You can hear the tone of the plate dropping. See all my tear out there? It means I gotta turn around and come at it the other way. So you see how quick and carefully these things will clean up your work. This is probably a half an hour total carve time on this so far, between the angle grinder, the drill press, and the finger planes. This is getting really actually quite close. You can see the forms and the carves are all starting to really take shape. What we're really trying to achieve here is making room, and what I mean by making room is we want this nice even 1/4 inch ledge around the guitar. What this is going to allow us to do is accurately route our binding channel later. The binding jig I use, the foot will sit right along this edge and give me a uniform thickness. So I'm really trying to stay off this edge absolutely, because it's just about finished thickness now. It'll be a little bit thinner. Again, everything's oversized and I work it down, but making room. All right, so we have this established. Then I want my recurve inside of that. So to get the recurve, I have to take out a certain amount of material to get below this surface here. So I have to make room for that in this trough here. That will push this edge in a little bit further, making room for that channel to happen. Again, back here we'll have the nice recurve trough that'll push this hump a little bit forward, so everything kind of dictates each other. We've got the biggest and the starting point is this 1/4 inch rim that we've established. So it's not all just luck of the draw. It's a little bit of planning, a little bit of understanding the dynamics of the movement of wood and how it works with your design. So we're just going to continue on here. I hope you're following what I'm trying to impart with you with my experience carving these guys. See, it's cutting clean again, so we're going in the right direction. Cutaways and horns are obviously the hardest. Sometimes we have to jump to smaller planes. They get tight, they get steep. As you can see, it's a pretty steep bevel there. If I leave this, if I take some of this meat off, I'm going to stand lot better chance to get into these cutaway sections. So that's all part of it. As we go, we lower the angle of these horns coming in. And that will work with our pitch from the bridge to the heel here. And what I'm envisioning is a little pocket here and a little pocket here. Okay, so I'm just trying to carve out what I can. This is all going to be pretty much flattened off. Finding the good direction of grain. So you can kind of see how that's taking shape. You can also see how I got to make room, like I was talking about before. I got to make room for this ridge. I got to get down into these areas, and the ridge is going to come down, obviously. So just keep following me here. I'm trying to do is preserve as much height on the horn ridge as I can. I don't want to lose it right off the bat. I'll take it away later in a controlled fashion, basically taking a rule from here to here and making a nice slope, gentle slope, connecting these points. But what I want to leave is the ridge so that I can actually shape it the way I want it. If I knock it down too much to get into these areas, then I'm left with kind of a tough carve to get it really poppy and ridgy. I don't like, obviously this is too sharp of a ridge. We're going to go for something quite a bit more subtle than that. But when you start to, with carvings, it's not in the edges, it's in the shadows. So I can create these nice big gentle flowing and even shadows without having to have these hard delineated lines. We can do it simply by just creating different planes within the surface of this plate. So it's going to be a little bit longer here. We're just going to keep working these sides down so that they're about even, then we'll go at the cutaways a little more. Just got to keep picking the direction of travel for your plane so you're not ripping stuff out. You want nice, clean, finished surfaces that you don't have to remove a whole lot from. That's what we're doing now. We're removing the bulk of it. Got to make room in this one, so I'm going to go a little bit farther up with the waist.